Welcome back to the 6th and final week of our online lectures. Of course, this is a 7-week course, but I'm not going to make a video for week 7 because it's just finals week and you guys presenting your speeches to me, so I don't think it really calls for a lecture. I could probably find something and make one if you guys like, but I don't think it will be necessary. A little bit of a review from week 5. The attendance quiz was 3 points. Okay? If you have made any type of effort at all this semester, well, guess what? You got 3 points on week 5, the attendance quiz. Week 6 does not have an attendance quiz, but also the week 5 lecture, there was some extra credit. I'll just to the microphone, it's probably going to be loud, but whatever. Some extra credit if you watched the entire lecture. If you would still like that extra credit, it is still available. Please do so. I had a couple students do it, and I've added some of you. I haven't added a couple of you, but it will be added, I promise. What I'm doing with that is just on the week 5 attendance quiz, I'm just going to add a couple points to you and all of that fun stuff. One more thing about the review. You had your prep sheets due. If you haven't done your prep sheet yet, please do so. You have to have that turned in because, well, it's an assignment and you have to do it. I've looked at just about every single one of them, I think. I might have missed a couple this morning before I started recording this. But those were due Sunday, of course. And then this week, holy cow, we have a lot due. So that's it for the review. If you have any comments, questions, concerns about anything, don't hesitate to reach out. But now moving on to week 6/week 7. I will do week 6 first, obviously, but it's speech time. I'm excited. I think the mini speeches, based on how the mini speeches went and all of that fun stuff, I think you guys are a very imaginative group, and I am so excited to get the chance to watch all of them. But that comes with some guidelines. Okay, so that's all we're doing this week. A little bit different background, as you can tell. This is, well, green background, so I probably look pretty green before I cover it up. But that's what I'm going to do. Hopefully, if it works the way I'm thinking of, I'm going to put the guidelines and stuff on the green screen / background, and then I'll just be talking in front of them, kind of like a weatherman. Is it going to work out? Probably not. But it is what it is, right? So now, here are the guidelines. Hopefully there's a cool transition there. Here are the guidelines for the informative speech. I briefly touched on them in the week 5 lecture by putting them up on screen for a couple of seconds, but I didn't really go over them in detail. But now we're going to go over them in detail, okay? So I'm going to look off screen here because, well, my monitor is off screen. So this speech is worth 50 points. The speech itself is worth 50 points. The entire assignment is worth 200 points. If you're keeping track of, oh, wait, I lied. 150 points. Sorry, can't do math. I forgot those were at 25 instead of 50. But the entire assignment is worth 150 points. If you are keeping track at home, that's like the entire semester, basically, in this one assignment. It can and will make or break your grade if you do not do it. Easiest way to put it, okay? Now, back to it. 50 points is the amount that the speech itself is worth. Note cards, and they are required for this one. You need to have a minimum of 3. I'm going to cover the format for those here in just a second. Those are worth 25 points. Your outline that hopefully some of you have started on. I haven't looked at any of the outlines yet if you have submitted them, but the outline is worth 50 points, and the PowerPoint itself is worth 25. You guys, it says informative, but really just any type of speech, kind of like the mini speech, right? So I'm going to say informative, but really it can be any type of speech you want it to be, okay? Your informative speech needs to be between 4 and 6 minutes long. You do need credible sources. By that, I basically just mean as long as you cite your sources, you'll be fine, okay? The point of this class is not really to make sure you guys know how to cite sources. It technically is. You guys have to do it right. But the point of this is just to get you guys comfortable talking in front of people. So that's really what you have to do. You need, just like a paper, your introduction, your body conclusion, and your PowerPoint needs to be between 5 and 7 slides. For Michael Winstead's Com 101 class, guess what? Your title slide and your reference slide do count. So if you're keeping track at home, that's really only between what, 3 and 5 slides? So, of actual information. Obviously, it can be as many slides as you want it to be, as long as you're in between that 4 to 6 minute mark. I really don't care. There's no maximum number of slides that it can be. It can be 75 slides if you want it to be. Please don't, but you can if you want them to be like that. Your note cards. I've had a couple of questions about the note cards. There is an example on Canvas. All you need to do is have them numbered in one of the corners and writing on one side. That's it. You can have as much or as little information on those cards as you would like. If you look at my example, I just have bullet points on there. To me, that is the easiest way to do, because that's going to jog your memory on what you need to talk about next. Right? If you have your entire speech written out on your note cards, you'll probably read the entire time. Well, you're going to lose a couple points for not making eye contact. Now, I know your eye contact in this case will be a camera because you are expected to record these to submit them. There should be a spot on Canvas for that. If not, we'll figure out a way to do that. But if you read your entire speech off your note cards, you're going to lose a couple points for not having eye contact. That is pretty much it for the guidelines. As far, like I said, writing on one side and at least 3. It says 3 by 5, but it's whatever. Note cards are note cards in my opinion. But those are, hopefully that clears up some of the information on the note cards questions. I'm going to walk off screen here, maybe, I don't know, to scroll down and go from there. Back here. Now, your outline is just like your outline that would be for like an English paper. Full sentences. My example has been unlocked for almost 2 weeks now. Some of you have submitted them already. If you haven't yet, or if you have submitted, I haven't looked at them yet. I'll be flat out honest with you. I try to grade kind of 1 week at a time, so that way you guys can get a gist of kind of where you are from week to week. And then when it's all said and done, it should be about 1.5 pages of information. It doesn't have to quite be 1.5 pages, but if it's like a half a page, you probably need to add some stuff to it. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is if you follow my example, you'll do just dandy. Do with that information as you may, okay? The only thing that you guys need on your outlines that I do not have on there, this is where another thing where if you haven't done it yet, you can change it now, okay? You guys need to have a reference page, a works cited page on there. My example does not have one. That's a mess up on my end. It is, right? When I was putting them up there, guess what? I uploaded the wrong one. So instead of re-uploading it and fixing it like a normal person probably would have, I am giving you guys the chance, if you've already submitted your outline, to resubmit it with the works cited page or a reference page. Why? I will never fault you guys for my mistake. I just won't. That's me being a dummy and uploaded the wrong one. So simple as that, right? So if you've submitted it and didn't put a reference page on there, guess what? Just add it and you'll be okay. You will get one resubmission, sorry. If you submit it, doesn't have a reference page on there, I will grade it as is. Your reference page is worth 10 points. So if it's a perfect outline, but no reference page, highest you can get is a 40 out of 50. Well, resubmit it with a reference page, 10 out of 10, 50 out of 50. Presumably, right? Obviously, if there are some grammar mistakes, yada, 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 those points cannot be made up, okay? So what I will do is if you submit it without a reference page, I'll put on there 40 out of 50. This is good. Get a reference page on there. But let's say you get a 37 out of 50 without a reference page. Well, I'll tell you, like I said, reference page can be made up, but grammar and punctuation errors cannot. So basically, if you resubmit it and then get it submitted with a works cited reference page, the highest you could get, if you missed a couple of points for grammar and punctuation, would be a 47 out of 50. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, please reach out and let me know. Okay. That is your speech in a nutshell. Now I'm going to put up a picture of what your format should look like when you send me your video. Basically, set up your camera or your phone and have your laptop right here, and then you're sitting beside it and you're just presenting to the camera. Simple as that. 4 to 6 minutes. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, please do not hesitate to reach out. Now I'm going to go through and show you my examples, like one by one. Last week, I know I put my example outline on there, but I want to show you guys again. Here is my example outline. Now, here is my example outline. Like I said, if you follow my outline step by step, you will probably do pretty fine. Exception, you need a works cited page. I do not have one on there. That's it. You have your attention getter, which is basically just a question, a comment, something that really grabs your audience attention. Your main idea of your speech is the same thing, going back to your prep sheet, is that general purpose. To inform my audience about ghost hunting, paranormal things, and my experiences. Boom, perfect. Your specific purpose is where you hit that target audience. My target audience, people that are on the fence about their beliefs when it comes to paranormal world. Yada, 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 yada. Then you have your main points. I wish I would have thought this through a little better as far as coming up here, yada, yada, yada. You have your main points. And then this is where you would have your conclusion. And at the very bottom, or on a second page or whatever, you would have your reference title slide, or reference and works cited page. When it comes to formatting for your reference and works cited page, I don't care what format you use. As long as it's in one universal format, that's cool with me. Most of you are probably the most familiar with with MLA. Use MLA. If you're more familiar with APA, use APA. I don't care. Okay? Comments, questions, concerns, don't hesitate to reach out. Now, here is my example note card pictures. Note cards. Put them on board. First things first, do not make fun of my handwriting. I write like a chicken, and I know that. Don't care. But like I said, you need to have 3 requirements, at least 3, numbered in one of the corners. I don't care which corner. And then writing on one side. As you can tell, like I said, mine is mostly bullet points. So if one of you were to come up here and pick up my note cards, it would probably make 0 sense to you. And that's okay, because it makes sense to me and it's how I remember things. So that's why I did it that way. Here's the information, and all you do for this note card assignment, take a picture, submit it where it says submit note cards here. Short, sweet, to the point. Next, I'm going to walk you through my presentation. I'm not going to give like a mock speech like I would for my normal class, because that would be a little bit longer, because as you can probably catch on, I like to ramble. But I'm going to walk you through my presentation. So here is my paranormal presentation. Now, I called it Paranormal Activity. Why? Because it's where I've been. And I also like puns. That's mostly the biggest reason. All you need to have is a presentation on whatever it is. You don't need to have a catchy title if you don't want a catchy title. You just need to have a presentation on, mine says, paranormal stories, events, and personal experiences throughout time. And then you need to have your name on there. That's all you need to have. If you want a catchy title, great, awesome. Don't have to. But if you do, add it. This right here is a personal picture of Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Louisville, Kentucky. It was a graduation gift to myself when I graduated college. My friend was like, hey, do you want to go? I said, absolutely. So we went to the 3rd most haunted place in the entire world. Like 2nd in the United States. Fantastic, right? But that is a picture I took. And then I'll go into did this die? Oh gosh, that's embarrassing. I'm gonna have to go through here. Wait a minute. Oh, nope, never mind, it works now. So, like I said, here's my title slide. Then I go into my information, okay? I am a big proponent of less is more on your slides because your audience is going to be more focused to listen to you, more inclined to listen to you because they don't have much information on their slides, right? So I would go into where did the word paranormal come from? If you read my outline, it's a compound word, para meaning out of this world, or out of, abnormal, yada, yada, yada. And normal, well, means normal. So paranormal is a compound word that means abnormal, basically it. Then go into some history about it, and then I go into paranormal is not just ghosts, it includes really anything that's not supposed to be here. Right? So Bigfoot, Mothman, Loch Ness Monster, chupacabras, things like that. Right? But it is most notably ghosts. And then that leads into probably the most famous ghost story of all time, which is Miss Annabelle. Annabelle is a doll, and then that leads into where I go, the power couple part of my presentation. If you know anything about haunted ghost movies in the last really 10, 15 years, you've probably heard of or seen these people right here. This is Ed and Lorraine Warren. Ed and Lorraine Warren, over time, have accumulated like 30,000 investigations. Now, some of those investigations were something as simply as I give them a call because my door is squeaking. Well, guess what? Put some WD-40 on there and that fixes it. But some of those investigations are Annabelle, the Amityville Horror House, the Haunting in Connecticut, The Conjuring, things like that, right? Those are all loosely based off of Ed and Lorraine Warren. Then I would lead into a more relevant example that you guys are probably a little bit more familiar with, because remember, I talked about making it familiar to your audience. Unless you're like a super hardcore ghost hunter or you really like scary things, you maybe have heard of the Warrens, but probably not. Somebody that you guys have definitely heard of, Zach Bagans. Zach Bagans, right? Ghost Adventures has been on for like 30 seasons, yada, yada, yada. But he is pretty much the modern day Ed and Lorraine Warren. Then I go into myself, okay? I have a silly little video that plays here if you want to look at it. But this is some of, not all, some of the places, these are some of the places that I've gone to in my 20 years of being an investigator. Use that term loosely, right? Top right or top left is going to be 100 Step Cemetery here in Terre Haute, or actually in Brazil, just down the road. And then a couple other places. That piano is Waverly Hills Sanatorium. Again, there's Waverly Hills. We have the Titanic Museum in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Then we have probably Terre Haute's most well-known ghost story, Stiffy Green. And then we have the Villisca Axe Murder House in Villisca, Iowa. The one top middle is, if you're from the Rockville area, Rockville, Indiana, that is the Indian State Sanatorium, loony bin pretty much. And then you have, or then I have in the middle, my first documentary that I made during grad school. I've since made a second documentary that I'm going to, instead of have this picture show, because you probably can't see anything on there. At the time, this was my best piece of evidence, but during the filming of my second documentary, I got a better piece, and it's fantastic.
We kept hearing knocking on the, just like a quick knock on the lockers. But we would hear it on each end of the hallway. And we knew it was a knock, like somebody tapped on it. It's distinctly different from anything other sound. Does I have a timer on it?
No, and these, I took them off the charger today. That was weird.
Okay. Include that in the document.
I definitely
Include that.
Wow, that was okay. I hope that makes sense. And here's your sources page, your works cited page. One last thing to show you guys how big of a dork that I am. This guy right here, Stiffy Green. Not the real one, but it was a birthday gift from my sister because she was like, hey, you're a dork. You like Stiffy Green. So she made it. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? Anyway, back to business now. That is everything that's expected for your speech. Okay. If you have any comments, questions, concerns about anything, do not hesitate to reach out. On Canvas, it says these are due Sunday, the 28th, no, the 29th of June. I'm going to push that back to July 2nd. That is Wednesday. These are now due Wednesday, July 2nd, and then your final. Your final, do not stress about. Super simple, I hope. I hope I hit the microphone again. Super simple, I hope. It is open note, open book, open internet, open whatever. I don't care. I don't care. Without saying it's completion, if you get on there and make any type of effort at all, you'll probably do pretty well on it. Pretty well. I think that is it for week 6 and week 7. Man, crazy. Crazy, crazy. Wrap up here. If you haven't submitted any, or if you forgot to submit an assignment, or if you forgot to do an attendance quiz, please do so, like I've said the entire time. Anything is better than a 0. But we're done. Next week. Crazy. Your final will be due July, I think it's July 6th, 5th or 6th. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Whenever the last day of the semester is, Sunday, July 6th at midnight or 11:59. Crazy. Crazy, crazy. If you guys have any comments, questions, concerns about anything, please do not hesitate to reach out. I know it seems like it's a lot due because it is, but we're done. We're now done with the semester. Almost. Buckle up, get through it, get it submitted, and you'll probably do pretty well. Thank you guys so much for listening to my online lectures. I hope you liked them. I hope they were helpful. If not, sorry, you don't have to listen to them again after this. Comments, questions, concerns, do not hesitate to reach out. And if you see me on campus in the fall, let me know. I'd love to actually meet you guys. You guys seem like a good, fun group of people. But other than that, hope you guys have a fun, safe rest of your summer break. And I won't see you guys. I almost did it again. I did it every week. But yeah, that's it. If you see me around, don't be a stranger, or do. I don't care. But if you see me around, say hi if you want to. Have a good, fun, safe rest of your summer break, guys. See ya. Bye.